Welcome. Namaste. It's the 6th day of yoga on our 12 Days of Yoga series. And today, as the song goes, there's 6 geese a-laying. I couldn't find a goose pose in the yoga. So I thought we would practice the heron pose today. The pose name in Sanskrit is Krounchasana. And we have a pond in our backyard, and there's all kinds of birds. I don't know if there's geese a-laying or definitely no swans, but we do have some beautiful ducks and egrets, and we've seen a few herons, big gray herons in the back. And one of the things that I appreciate about the herons is their boldness. They swoop in, they go down, they catch their fish, they come out, they hang out on the shore, and they stick their heads out and they walk around. They're really cool birds, beautiful to watch. And the other birds, they have there's this whole like relationship going on with all the birds around the pond. So I thought today we'd practice Krounchasana and kind of exhibit our bold splendor. So sit comfortably to begin. Turn your thigh bones in. And then lengthen your tailbone down. Join your thumb and index fingers together. You can place your palms face down in your lap, lift up through your side ribs, and take the heads of your arm bones back. And then from the core of your pelvis, settle down into your sitting bones on the blanket or on the floor, and then boldly lift your chest. Lift up, reach all the way up through the top of your head. Just take up some space here. Make yourself tall, bright, and exhibit your splendor in your seated posture this morning. Just like the beautiful heron out by the pond. With your eyes closed, tune into your breath. Feel each inhalation fill your lungs all the way down to the bottom and all the way up to your collarbones. With each exhalation, keep that feeling of brightness inside, but soften your muscles and your skin over your inner light. When we tap into the deeper aspects of the self, we come to a place of the heart, place of love, of joy, of happiness. And life becomes a celebration. Bring your palms together at the heart center. Let's chant an Om. Take a deep breath. Om. Bow your head to your bold heart. And then release your hands down and open your eyes. So for Krounchasana, we need to stretch these hamstring muscles. So let's start in a table pose. For our practice today, you will also want to have a strap nearby. But we'll start in all fours position. You can put a blanket under your knees if you want a little extra knee cushioning. And bring your hands right under your shoulders. Let's start with a few rounds of cat-cow to awaken the spine. Press your inner thighs back and lift your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Stretch your heart boldly forward and lift your chin. And then as you exhale, draw your tailbone forward, arch your back up away from the floor, and draw your head down. Deep breath in, thighs back, stretch the heart forward. Exhale, tailbone in, round your spine. And go a couple more times. This is one of my favorite ways to begin my yoga practice, my asana practice. Just doing some deep breathing and feel the movement from the hips and the shoulders and your back. And then the next time you look up, find a neutral spine position. So you've got a little bit of low back curve, but not a collapse. There's also a fullness. You take the tailbone in a little bit. You feel your abdominal muscles engage. Then stretch your right leg straight back. You can place your toes down on the floor. Push out through your heel and get a little calf stretch. In this position, you'll notice that your knee points straight down towards the floor. We're not turning the hips or keeping the hips neutral. And then lift your foot up so that your heel is up about the height of your hips. And now extend out from the core of your pelvis. Reach back through your right foot and boldly extend your heart and your head forward. So there's a big expansion here. Try to create as much length and space along your spine as you can. And then exhale, bring the right knee back to the floor. We'll take the left foot, toes on the mat, push out through your heel, lengthen your leg, your thigh is still rolled in. Your hips stay pretty level here. And then lift up. So when you lift, don't let the hip turn out. Keep the thigh rolling in, your toes face down to the earth. And stretch, lengthen, reach out through your left leg. Reach your spine forward, reach out through the crown of your head. And exhale, lower your knee. Now take your right foot up to the outside of your hands. And here you can have blocks under your hands if you need a little more space. We'll do a little bit of hamstring stretch. So start to move and pulse. As you exhale, go back into a runner's stretch. You'll feel the stretch in the back of your thigh. And on your inhalation, shift your hips forward. You get a bit of a quadricep stretch on your back leg. Go back and forth a bunch of times. Pay attention to the sensations in your hips, your legs, your spine, and your shoulders. And then the next time you shift back, come up on your heel of the front foot and pull your toes back towards your kneecap. Just pull in, draw in and up through your leg all the way up into the core of your pelvis. And then from the core of the pelvis, push out through the ball of your big toe. Lengthen your spine forward. You can take one hand to either side of that front leg and perhaps fold over your thigh a little bit more. Now we don't want to just collapse here and curl into a little ball. We want to keep that feeling of the bold heart extending forward. So keep lengthening from your core of your pelvis to the heart and out to the crown of your head. And then bend your right knee again and switch sides. Take your right knee back around to the floor. Left foot forward just to the outside of your hands. It gives you a little more space to move your hips forward and then back. Move with the breath. The inhalation draws you forward. The exhalation pulls you back. Inhale, expand the heart. And exhale, we go inward. A couple more times. And then the next time your hips go back, take your hands around to the outside of the foot. Come way up on the heel, pull your toes up towards your knee. And draw in from the sole of the foot, pull all the way up through your leg, up into the core of your pelvis. Then from the core of your pelvis, press out through the ball of your big toe so the inner edge of your leg stretches as much as the outer edge. And then lengthen your spine. Reach your heart forward, shining your brilliance out into the world. And then you can bow a little further in, drawing your forehead toward your shin. Inhale, lift up, bend your knee, and then come into lunge. Lift your right knee off the floor and take a big step up to the front of the mat. Firm your legs and fold into Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And keep a little bend in your knees as needed, hands on blocks as needed. And then press down into your feet and inhale. Stretch your arms out to the sides. Lead with your heart. Let the heart take you up. So your arms come overhead, and then exhale. Release your arms down and bring your palms together in front of your chest. All right, inhale, stretch your arms out and up. And then exhale, bow forward again. Walk your feet back. We'll come into downward facing dog. You can leave the blanket there if you had it there. Just step over it. We'll take a few breaths in downward dog to explore. Bend one knee and press your other heel towards the mat. Do that a couple of times. Stretching the hamstrings and the calf muscles. And then find that neutral place in the middle. Bend your knees slightly. Pull up from your feet and your hands. Draw energy into your heart. Turn your sitting bones up towards the sky more. And then reach your tailbone down. Inhale, lift your right leg up into one leg dog pose. And keep your thigh rolled in just like you did from the table position. And now we get more extension. So from your heart, push down into your hands. And from the heart, shine out through your big toe. And all of the toes, really. You can spread all your toes. Exhale, bring your right foot back to the floor. And then lift from your inner left thigh. Take your left leg up so your thigh stays rolled in. Keep your abdominal muscles engaged. Pull into the heart, and from your heart, boldly shine out. Press down into the earth. Reach up to the sky. And exhale, lower your knee or your foot to the floor, and then we'll take both knees down. All right, come onto your back and have your strap handy. For Supta Padangusthasana, the reclined big toe pose. So come on down, lie on your back, take your strap or bathrobe, belt, or whatever you have handy, and bring it around the ball of your right foot and stretch your right leg up. Okay, left leg can either stay bent with your foot on the floor or you can stretch it down on the mat. Relax your shoulders back. Pull in from your feet up into the core of your pelvis. And then with that feeling of bold beauty, extend out from the core of your pelvis. Press out through the balls of your feet. Make your legs long. Lengthen your spine even. Try to reach the top of your head away from your feet. If you don't have a strap here, you can lace your hands together behind your right thigh. Take a couple more breaths. See if you can pull your leg in a little bit closer to you. And let's explore. Take your hands up a little closer to your foot. So for Krounchasana, the seated Heron pose, we've got one leg up in the air. You'll be holding on to your foot. And then you can lift your head here and draw your forehead and your shin towards each other. A little variation. Okay, and then come on down. Keep your right leg up, but bend your knee and hold on to the outer edge of your foot with your right hand and pulse your thigh up and down a few times. A little half happy baby pose. Feel that stretch in your hip and your low back. Great, and then release. We'll switch sides. Take your left leg up, strap around your foot, and have the strap at the ball of your foot rather than in the arch of the foot. It gives you more resistance to press up into with the ball of the foot and helps prevent cutting off your circulation to your toes as well. Your right leg, you can either keep it bent with foot flat on the floor or stretch your right leg straight out. First, we draw in, pull in. Pull energy from your feet up into the core of your pelvis. It's a place of pulsation, a place of power. We call it a Spanda center in Ashaya Yoga. And Spanda is the natural pulsation of the universe. And then from that place of integration, expand boldly out. Reach your legs longer. Press through the balls of your big toes. And lengthen your spine. Take some full, deep breaths. Gradually pull your leg in a little closer if you can. And then try taking the arms up closer to your foot. Lift your chest, lift your head, and if you bend your arms out to the sides, you can bring your forehead and your shin a little closer together. Good. Release down. Bend your knee. Release the strap. Hold the outer edge of your foot with your left hand and pulse your thigh up and down a few times. The shin stays vertical. Sole of your foot stays flat to the ceiling. And enjoy the opening through your hip. A little stretch in the back of your thigh. Great. And release. Okay, turn to your side. And then come on up. Keep your belt nearby. Grab your blanket. And we'll try a few seated poses before we get into our Krounchasana. So fold your blanket into a rectangle or even a square if you need a little extra height. I'm going to use the square here actually for now. And sit way up with your sitting bones on the folded blanket and stretch your legs out in front of you. So the backs of your thighs, if you're up a lot, your backs of your thighs may not be touching the mat, and that's totally fine. All right, so in this position, Dandasana, the staff pose, you want to draw your low back in towards the front of your body rather than rounding the lumbar spine, curving back. That puts too much pressure on your spinal discs. So if you need more height, you can even sit up on blocks to elevate your hips more. That will allow you to draw your lumbar curve of the spine forward a bit. All right, and then arms can be down by your sides, fingertips on the floor, or if you're not sitting on a blanket, you might get your palms all the way to the floor. And we pull in from the feet and the crown of the head down into the core of your pelvis. And then from the core of your pelvis, boldly stretch. Press out through the inner edges of your feet. Lift your heart. Take the heads of your arm bones back. And celebrate yourself. All right, we're going to try a quadricep stretch here. So I'm going to bend the left leg. You'll bend your knee and then scoot your left hip right over to the edge of your blanket or your blocks. And then you can take the left foot and bring the top of your foot on the floor. Hug your knee in towards the middle and then sit up tall in this Ardha Virasana, half of the warrior's seat, hero seat, right? Ardha Virasana. So your foot is pointing straight back. It's not curving out. Your toes aren't curving out to the side. They're not rolling in. Try to get all 5 toes on the floor. And then inhale, lift your chest, heads of arm bones back. And let's reach up with the arms here. Good. On your exhalation, hinge forward. Bring your hands down to the mat beside your knees. Draw your low back in and lift your heart boldly. Expand upward through the spine rather than curving in. We want to take that feeling of bold beauty today, just expanding the heart space. And then if you can reach, you can take your hands a little farther forward, maybe hold on to your foot, and then again, round the forehead towards your shin or your kneecap. And if that's too intense on your low back, you stay here with your hands on the floor. Or you can use your strap around your foot. And strap around the foot gives you even a little more space. You can stay up nice and tall, draw your low back forward. It's a great, great variation. All right, good. And release that. Let's switch sides. So lean way over to the right. Take your left leg straight and then move your hips right over to the right edge of your blanket so that your foot is on the mat beside the blanket. Your heel snuggles right up against your hip. You can sit up tall, draw the low back in, lift up through the side ribs, heads of arm bones back to open the heart space. Press your right toes down into the floor so you're anchored and grounded to the earth. Then lift your chest. Your next inhalation, stretch your arms up. And then exhale, sweep your arms out to the sides. Come forward, bring your fingertips down, or use the strap around your foot. Pull the spine forward, take the shoulders back, lift your heart. And then if you've got a little more stretch in you, you can bend your elbows, lower your head, or reach and hold on to your foot and draw your forehead towards your shin. So if you're holding your foot and your arms can bend, lift your elbows up, hug your shoulder blades onto your back to support that beautiful, bold heart opening and lengthening forward. And then inhale to lift up. All right, roll your shoulders around a few times. Lean over to your left. Bring that right foot back around. Okay, so I think we're ready for Krounchasana. Basically, it's what we just did, only we're going to take the straight leg up towards the sky. So for this one, just be mindful, especially if you're sitting on a block, that you don't roll back off the block. With the blanket, it's a little easier. Or if it's working in your knees to have that deep bend, you can sit on the floor. Now, if that knee position, the bent knee position, bending back, is very uncomfortable for you, then a great modification is to bring your leg in front, more like Janu Shirshasana or Ardha Paschimottanasana. So you just fold the leg in front of you, but if you can, you take your left foot back so the right leg is extended out in front. And you'll feel if you're not using the lift, the blanket or the block, it's a little harder to draw your low back in. So you can roll your thighs in a bit, root down into your foundation, lift up through the heart. Take the heads of your arm bones back. And now bend your right knee so that you can reach your hands to the ball of your foot, just like you did in Happy Baby, where you held the outer edge of the foot. Now we're going to hold both sides of the foot. Lift your chest, lean back so your heel comes off the floor, and then slowly extend your leg out. And it might not straighten all the way, might be very bent, right? But as much as you can, you extend out, you shine out. And from the pelvis, you root down into your hips, into the sitting bones. You connect to the earth. And then lift your chest, lift your foot, take the heads of the arm bones back, and boldly shine your heart light up to the sky. And then if you have a little more left in you, bend your elbows out to the sides. Bring your forehead and your shin towards each other for Krounchasana. Inhale, release, bring your foot down. All right, let's switch legs. Woo, take your left leg out in front. Bend the right knee. Either foot comes back in the half hero, or you can have your foot in front for, leg more like a regular cross leg seat. That'll be a lot less stress on your knee. Try to get both sitting bones rooted onto the floor or onto your blanket if you're using the blanket. Take a deep breath in, draw your low back in, and then lean back, bend the left leg, hold on to your foot with both hands, and lift your foot up. We want to avoid this collapse here in the front body because, right, we're feeling worthy, we're feeling beautiful today. We're expressing the boldness of the heart. So lift the heart, draw the heads of your arm bones back, and gradually straighten your leg and shine out from the core of your pelvis. Push out through the ball of your foot into your hands, and then lift up from the core of your pelvis. Reveal the beauty of your heart. Reach out through the top of your head. And then to go a little deeper, bend your elbows, bring your forehead and your shin closer together. Woo! It's intense. And gently release. Good. Stretch both legs out in front of you now. Bring your hands to the floor behind you. Fingers can point away. Lift up and get a nice little back bend there. Glide your throat back. Lift your chin. Look up. Good. And then release. All right. Bend both legs. Come down onto your back. And we'll do another low back release here. Lift your feet off the floor and cup the tops of your knees with your hands. So the hands are pushing down. You're not pulling your knees in. You're going to push your knees away from your head. And when you push your knees forward towards your toes, your low back, your lumbar spine will arch up away from the floor a little bit. So we reestablish the lumbar curve. And that can feel really good after Krounchasana, which is actually a very deep forward bend when you're bringing your leg and your head towards each other. So this is a nice counter stretch. Good. And then bring your feet down to the mat. Take your left leg long. Open your arms out to your sides, palms face up. Shift your hips over to the right a few inches. And then roll onto the outer left thigh. Bring your right knee across you. You can use your left hand to pull the right knee down. And then turn your head and chest to the right for a nice spinal twist. Draw your low back in and then extend out through your left foot and reach up through the top of your head. Reach your right shoulder blade down to the floor or towards the floor if it doesn't reach. Slow, deep breaths. And inhale, come back to neutral. Bend both of your knees, bring your spine so it's centered, and then stretch the right leg long. Pick up your hips, move them over to the left a few inches, and then roll onto the outer right thigh and hip. Right hand to left knee. Turn your head and chest to the left. Keep that left shoulder anchored to the floor. And enjoy the twist. Pull your spine forward towards your navel a bit. Good. And breathe down into your belly. And then as you inhale, come back to center and readjust yourself. So you're in the middle of the mat. Let's hug the knees now up into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side and embrace your bold self. Just give yourself a nice hug. And then as you're ready, take your feet down to the floor and we'll set up for Shavasana. Stretch your legs out, arms down by your sides, turn your palms face up. And relax. Let yourself settle onto the earth and feel the stretch that you created in your legs and your spine. Feel how you are able to boldly open your heart today in your practice. Now, like the heron, just rest in your beauty, a beautiful sense of yourself. this feeling that you get in Shavasana, this feeling of joy or happiness. Yoga, the word for that is ananda, means bliss. And we often get it, in Shavasana at the end of the practice because the practice itself has opened up pathways for energy to flow. It's helped you stretch and expand and release the things that block you from coming into your heart. So just bask in that for another few seconds. And then begin to gently awaken your fingers and toes. You can reach your arms overhead. Take a nice long stretch. And then bend your knees and roll to your side. And slowly lift yourself up. Take a comfortable seat. Turn your thighs in, tailbone down. Lift your heart, shoulders back. And just sit in your beauty. You're amazing. Hope you have a fantastic, wonderful rest of your day. Let's bring our hands to heart center and namaste. All right, thank you for participating.